Norfolk Island pine is a really fun material to work with. Apparently, this is the branchlets of the scale leaves of a Norfolk Island pine tree. Now, they don't grow in my area, but they do grow in Florida and some of the southern states in Hawaii and such. Have a friend gather these for you, or when you're on vacation. It's very interesting to work with, this particular plant material. And you go to these trees, they look really tall. They resemble, in our neck of the woods, some of the fake cell towers look like these trees to me. And this is what the branch looks like up close. You can actually cut them right off the tree, or you can find them at the base of the tree. And here you can see a picture. Some of them are green and some are brown. It doesn't matter which of these two, they're both going to be fine to use. I gather quite a few of these, and they can sometimes come off in clumps like this here. And I like to gather a lot of them because they taper down in size. So in order to get a long length of anything, you have to kind of match them together, so you're going to need a lot of supply. And what I do is I bring it home and I put it in a plastic container with some silica gel to absorb any of the leftover moisture that might be in there. And then when it comes time to use them, they are not very pliable. They're pretty brittle and straight, and yet you can soak them in warm water. Here I am putting it in a bowl, and you can put them in and weigh it down with a fork or something so that it's submerged completely, and wait about an hour. And when it comes out, it's a lot more pliable, and you can change the shape. It can curve nicely. I start with a drawing on the computer. Here is a circle of the circumference of a necklace I wanted to make. And I took the soaked Norfolk Island pine, and you can shape it then in the shape you want. And again, they're not that long, so you can take some and glue them together and create the shape that you want, or if it's just a shorter area. I'm just doing, as an example, this short one here. And then you tape your diameter onto styrofoam. And once you've done that, then you can use toothpicks to keep it in the shape that you want so that it'll dry overnight. Now, one of the things I do recommend is this packing tape. I like to put it over the piece of paper that shows the design. And the reason I do that is because the next step that I do is seal the material. And when you do that, the glue or the epoxy that I'm using can drip down onto the piece of paper. If it's not covered with packing tape, it will stick to the paper. Epoxy and glue doesn't usually stick very easily to the packing tape. I like to use this crazy glue. When the piece is dried overnight after you've shaped it, then I go in with this crazy glue that has a brush applicator, and you can use it to get in there and really kind of seal all the little scale-like pieces. And it's to help preserve the piece and keep it in its shape, and also to keep moisture out. Plant material, when you don't seal it, often when you go to spray paint it, if you've shaped it, it might change its shape after you spray paint it because it absorbs the moisture. It decides to do its own thing. By using the super glue or even epoxy, you will stop that from happening. So after the glue dries, you have a choice of painting your material, either silver, gold, whatever you've decided, depending on your piece. If I wanted to look a little antique and really have the texture of the material pop, I like to paint the whole thing black. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you paint it all black. I use Design Master glossy black, and make sure and get the paint under the scales, if you will, of the piece, and then let that dry. It doesn't take long for that to dry. And then I like to use these wax metallic paints. These are two brands I've used, Craft Smart and Rub and Buff, and you can get them at Michael's or on Amazon or any of that. And you just need a tiny little bit. You don't want a lot because you want it to accentuate the color of the scales and keep the dark underneath. This example here, I put a little too much in the middle. You can kind of see. If this were something I was using for a competition, I'd go in there with a little pin or something and get some of that gold out of there to make it neat. But you just need a little bit, and you buff it up a little bit. It's a wax, and then it gives you this lovely antique effect. You can see this on this butterfly pin that I did, and also on this snake pin that a friend of mine did for our local garden club. See, because of the black, the scales that make up the snake. And I thought that was a really neat effect. If you're trying to make a more gold type necklace, I like to spray the whole thing with 24 karat pure gold. It's a solid color. It still shows a lot of the texture. The results is a real shiny, more contemporary gold material that you would see in a necklace today, as an example, instead of more the antique look. And it really shines. I know these pictures don't show it, but you can really see the material right in there. I love that. You can collect it and then keep it in the bin until you're ready to use it. Then just enjoy it and have fun working with it.